Hello and welcome once again to the Waters and Stanton video channel. My name is Peter Waters and my call sign is Golf 3 Oscar Juliet Victor. If you've ever wondered about installing radials for vertical antennas and got some questions about it, I hope this video will actually answer sort of questions that might come into your head. Basically, I've got 10 points I want to cover about installing radials for vertical antennas, and hopefully if you follow this through, it will answer all the usual questions that do come up from time to time. So why do we need radials? Well, this is the quarter wave radiator, the vertical radiator, but it's only half the antenna. We need a return path, and the return path is provided by these radials that you see extending out from the base. This sticker cable here, by the way, is the coax feeder. So these radials provide the return path. They also actually have an effect on the radiation pattern of the antenna, which is predominantly low. It means to say that energy leaving this antenna will be at an angle something like that, perhaps 10 or 15 degrees. There's very little high angle radiation from the antenna, which means to say that it does favour DX. So point number 2, wire. What sort of wire? Well, really and truly, you need to consider plastic coated wire. You don't want bare wire, because bare wire will weather, it will corrode, and it won't last that long. The advantage of PVC covered wire is that it's protected and it'll last an awful lot longer. And I go for PVC stranded wire. The thickness really is not important, and you can use something like speaker wire really. But any wire that has got a PVC covering and is multi-stranded is going to be easy to handle, and it won't corrode when it's exposed to the weather. Point number 3, what about putting the radials on the ground or below the ground? Well, actually, whichever way you choose, there's no particular advantage. The radials still work perfectly well if they're just below the surface of the earth, as they would be if they're laid on the surface of the ground. It's more a practical situation, really. If you lay the radials on the ground and it's a lawn, eventually you've got to move them to cut the lawn. But I think most people, if it's going to be a permanent installation, will lay them on the lawn and let them just settle into the lawn, and they'll eventually go just below the surface. And I mean, in the winter, that's an ideal time to do it when the ground is really wet. I've got a ground here which is clay, and it's rock hard at the moment because we're in the middle of the summer, and then you'd have to either sort of put a spade there and just make a sort of like a little slit and push the wire down. Far easier to do it during the winter when the ground is wet, but it actually doesn't matter which way you do it. If you lay them on the lawn and you've got a small garden, you may want to lift them up off the lawn, or just roll them up and cut the lawn and put them back again. It is a bit of a faff doing that way. So I think most people, if it's going to be a permanent installation, will just let the wire settle through the lawn, particularly if they can do it in the winter. Well, radio conditions are absolutely appalling at the moment, aren't they? Just been listening on 40 metres, and there's not much about. There's a few Scottish stations coming through, which I think suggests it's long skip. Anyway, point number 4. How long should the radials be? Well, there is no special length for radials. Basically, you sometimes hear people say, oh, you need a quarter wave radial. Well, a quarter wave radial on the ground is not the same length as a quarter wave in the air. Basically, if you lay a radial on the ground, it really is not resonant at all. As a rough rule of thumb, I would suggest you want to try and get about 1/8 of a wavelength long for the lowest band. If you're using a multi-band antenna, about 1/8 of a wave long. If, for example, you're on 20 metres, that would mean that your radial will be around about 8 foot long. It's not critical at all. It really isn't critical. The length of the radials are not super critical, but go for, if you can, about 1/8 of a wave long. If you can put longer radials on the ground, it will benefit you a little bit, but it's really not that critical. And we'll come to point 5 in a minute, which relates to number of radials and so forth. So don't worry about the length of radials. Don't sort of go with a measure on the ground and think, oh, well, this is almost 1/8 of a wave. It's not important at all. get them out as long as you can, and that is not a bad rule of thumb. As long as you can. I mean, you can't have ultra short radials, but if you're around about an eighth of a wavelength long, then, or on the lowest band, that works. And now we come to point 5, how many radials? Well, this is an interesting one because it can make a big difference. You could stick an earth stake in the ground and the antenna would work, but it would work very poorly. You'd probably have some contacts, but wouldn't give out much hope for working too much TX. Basically, 8 radials is likely to give you reasonable performance. Put 8 radials out on the ground, space them equally around the ground, then you'll get some fairly good performance. If you double that to 16, you'll get a significant improvement in performance. And if you double that again to say 32, you'll get very good performance. Once you reach the 32 point of radials, then there's not much to be gained, and I would say it's questionable. If you went up to 64, I'm not so sure that you would notice the difference. It wouldn't be much difference. I would say 32, and there's nothing magical about 32. It could be 30, it could be 34, but if you have around about 30 radials, you're approaching the best performance you're likely to get in your particular location. Because do bear in mind that location is also important. You can't do much about your location, but your location will affect your performance. Get 30 radials out and you'll have some pretty good performance, as I say, taking into account where you're located. Now, don't worry if you can't get that many out. 16 is fine, 8 works. But again, the more radials you have, the better the performance. In some ways, it's the most important thing is the amount of wire you get on the ground. If you have 60 fairly short radials, they won't be far removed from the performance of 30 slightly longer radials. So it's really the amount of wire you get on the ground. Rough rule of thumb, 8 is going to work. 16, you notice an improvement in performance. 30, 32, you're approaching the maximum performance you're likely to get in that particular location. Now, here's an interesting one, point 6. You may find that as you increase the number of radials, your VSWR rises. Why should that be? Well, the basic impedance of an antenna, a vertical antenna, is around about 25-30 ohms. It varies a bit, but it's certainly lower than 50 ohms. But you've also got earth loss. And the earth loss basically is in series with the feed point. And that earth loss raises the apparent resistance or impedance. So if, for example, you put a single stake in the ground, you'll probably have a pretty good match because although the impedance of the antenna is around about 25 ohms, you've also got the earth resistance in series with it. So it tends to raise the impedance, so you get a good match. As you add more radials, so you reduce the apparent earth loss because the radials are replacing the earth beneath it. And so what actually happens is that the actual earth loss diminishes, which means to say the apparent impedance also goes down, which means to say your VSWR is going to rise slightly. So if you've put down 30 odd radials in the ground and you think, gosh, I've got all those radials and I still can't get the VSWR down, it's because the radials are doing their job. So don't worry too much about that. And we're not talking about high VSWR. We're talking about perhaps 1.5 or 1.6, something like that. If you can't get below that, don't worry. Also, bear in mind, of course, that your VSWR that you measure in the shack is always going to be lower than what the actual VSWR is at the antenna. That's because the coax cable itself is going to have a loss on it. It's got the inherent loss in it. And the longer the cable, the more loss you've got. So that in itself will tend to lower the VSWR. I just make the point because sometimes you put a whole load of radials down and you think, oh, gracious me, put all those radials down and the VSWR's gone up. That's the reason. Point number 7, very simple, but it can affect performance. Try and keep the radials as straight as possible because if you lay them on the ground, particularly lay them on the ground, they won't go in a straight line, they'll be curling around. So try and pull them out straight. It effectively makes them longer if you pull them out and anchor the far point down. And also try and keep them equidistant around the circle. So equidistant and keep them straight so they're maximum length. Now, point number 8, do make sure that those radials are firmly connected to some form of base plate, or however you're going to connect your radials, because those radials are really important to the performance of the antenna. So make sure that they are really anchored well together, bonded, and also make sure that the connections are waterproof, because with time and over the winter, what can be a good connection in the summer may not be such a good connection in the winter. So make sure that you weatherproof those connections. You've got good solid electrical connections that will last you over a long period, really, because there's no, you see, the problem with radials is that if you get a poor connection, or that connection diminishes, it's not that obvious. There's nothing in the shack that says, sort of, no red light that says, you've got a problem. It can happen, and until you inspect them perhaps in the summer and realise that they've corroded or something like that, you're not aware of it. So make sure that you've got a firm connection. All those radials are firmly connected to some sort of base plate. I actually, in the summer, I use large crocodile clips and clamp them to the earth point on the system, but that's not adequate for long-term use. So just check that point. Now, point 9 is a very interesting one. Did you know that if you raised your vertical by about 1 metre off the ground and used a pair of resonant radials, on that particular band where the radials are resonant, you get something like a 3 dB improvement compared with the vertical on the ground and radial sitting on the surface or just below the surface of the ground. The advantage of radials on the ground is they're great for multiband performance. But if you were to raise your vertical off the ground by about 1 metre and use a pair of resonant radials for a particular band, that particular band would give you something like 3 dB improvement over what you would have had on the ground. Now, as you consider more bands on the vertical, it means to say you've got to have several pairs of resonant radials, a pair for each band. But it's an interesting proposition. If, for example, you wanted to operate on 20 metres, you could raise that antenna off the ground by about 1 metre, put a pair of resonant radials on, and you get an improvement in performance. It's not always practical to do that, but it is a fact that raised radials do work significantly better. But the big problem is that each pair of raised radials has got to be resonant on the band that you're operating on. Finally, we come to noise. A vertical antenna picks up more noise than a horizontal antenna, and the reason being is that local noise is generated by what we call ground wave, and vertical polarized ground wave travels much further than horizontal ground wave. So it means to say that the noise that is picked up by your vertical, it could be stronger because it's vertically polarized than if it was horizontally polarized. So it's a fact of life that the vertical antenna will pick up more noise. Can you do something about it? Well, yes, you can. Put a line isolator at the feed point of the antenna, and then put another line isolator near where the coax comes into the radio room. That will tend to reduce the noise, certainly noise on the outer sheathing of the coax. So, point to remember. So there we are, 10 points all about radials. I hope that the points that I've covered will cover most of the questions that some of you have answered, or some of you are pondering about and wondering what to do. If you follow these 10 points, then you'll have a pretty good radial system, and you'll have some fun on the handbands with a vertical antenna. There we are. In the meantime, thanks for your support on this channel, much appreciated. Don't forget to press the subscribe button. In the meantime, you enjoy your ham radio, you take care, look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.